Hey Crusaders, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to touch a nerve with some of you. I hate to say it, I may lose some subscribers, but it's something that I've been saying for years, and I think it's something you need to hear. Just plain and simple, sometimes truth hurts, but it is what it is. When I ask, please subscribe and share to the channel, or subscribe to the channel and share it. I've got really good content coming up. I think this is going to be some good content. So anyway, we're going to dive right off into it. The red wave did not turn out the way a lot of people hoped that it would. And, you know, I didn't see it coming. A lot of people didn't see this coming. I just don't understand how in this country people can still vote the way that they are evidently voting in these elections. And we cannot just say that all of these elections have been stolen, because evidently there's people out there that's voting this way. But there's blame to be had in this situation, and that's what this video is going to be pretty much about. I'm going to get to Trump in just a minute and his culpability in the situation, but I think we need to step back probably about 10 to 14 years possibly here and kind of take a look at the way that the Republican Party has progressed. It's left its base. The Republican Party's nowhere near the party that it was with Reagan, and we've lost that, and they're to blame. The Republican Party is to blame. The Republican Party used to stand to be a party for conservatives, for the right, for Christians. That was the base. And this is why I say that it's left the base. So let's step back to the 2008 election. In the 2008 election, we had John McCain going against Obama. John McCain was probably one of the first of the Republican Party to be labeled a rhino. He was a moderate. He was nowhere near the further side right of the party. He was more centrist. And so I think that that's where the Republican Party started thinking that they could placate and steal votes from the left, by putting these moderate candidates up. But we see how that turned out. 2008, John McCain, I feel that they left the base. The whole reason for Sarah Palin was to try to bring back the base, even though McCain was the moderate. They thought that this could balance out. Well, it didn't work. Fast forward to 2012, same thing. The 2012 election absolutely it infuriated me at what the Republican Party did in 2012. And I'm going to say this, between 2008 and 2012, I don't think that Obama would have got elected had the Republican base stuck to their original core values and put up candidates that we actually wanted to vote for. In 2012, we had Mitt Romney. And I've told a lot of people this story. And Billy Graham, up until Obama, had pretty much visited in the White House and prayed for every president that we had had up until that point during his ministry. I had a problem, and as far as with Mitt Romney, when he became a candidate, a lot of the Christian base did not like the fact that he was Mormon. So I looked to Billy Graham and what Billy Graham did during that election. I think it was the New York Times. Billy Graham took out a full-page ad, and he never endorsed Mitt Romney because he never went to that. He never crossed that line. He kind of gave his backing to Mitt Romney, Billy Graham did, but he never actually said, okay, here is my full-fledged endorsement. And that to me spoke volumes, because as a party, a Christian nation, for Billy Graham not to give that endorsement to Romney, to me that spoke values. So between 2012 and 2016, it just got worse. Now let me explain. This is probably where I'm going to step on a lot of people's toes. No matter what you think, no matter what you've read, I really do not believe that Donald Trump was a Christian in 2016 when he was awarded the nomination for the Republican Party. In fact, and you can fact check me on this, there's a video from 2016 before he was elected where he was asked, have you ever repented? Have you ever, confessed your sins? This is in the video. Go, if you don't believe me, go look it up. I'll share it. Just take my word for it. So he told the person that was interviewing him no, that he never had accepted Christ, that he didn't believe that he had done anything that bad that he had to confess his sins for. Okay, that's between him and God. I'm not judging him for that, but I'm saying that that's not the type of candidate that I wanted at the time to put my weight behind. Okay, my weight. So anyway, that's why I believe in 2008, more so in 2012, and then 2016, the Republican Party left its base. Completely out. Now, I'm going to get to Trump and the culpability here. Trump did a lot of good things for this country. I am not going to deny that. He really did a great job in what he did and some of the laws that he passed and the economic turn that he gave this country. However, I think he stirred up a hornet's nest. I think that there was a lot of things that he did that turned people off of him. And let me just kind of give you a few of the examples. When he was running against John McCain, he talked about how he liked his war heroes not to have been captured. He was bad-mouthing McCain because he was a POW. When Colin Powell died a few years ago, he actually came out and talked about how Colin Powell, he bad-mouthed him basically. You can go look it up. But, Colin Powell was a decorated veteran of this country. And, within days of his passing, Trump did not need to badmouth that guy. Trump had been accused of mocking a reporter in a wheelchair. We remember that whole thing that Trump did with that rally that he was a part of. But then just a few days ago, last week actually, before this midterm election, Trump was talking about where the Republicans fit in as far as their points or anything as far as who would win 2024. Well, he referred to Ron DeSantis as Ron DeSanctimonious. It's uncalled for. It is uncalled for. And this is the way that he acted throughout his 26 campaign. And I honestly feel that had he had not been so divisive, his road to the White House in 2020 would have been easier. Now, back in 2016, when he was elected, yeah, we probably needed fire to fight fire to be able to defeat Hillary. But after he defeated Hillary, somebody should have taken away his Twitter profile, should have taken away, should have calmed him down a little bit with his rhetoric. I think that he poured gasoline, to the fire as far as, the things that he said. He rallied the left, plain and simple, because I believe that because of his divisiveness, he rallied the left around him, or rallied the left, to actually more energize the base to actually want to remove Trump from office. So here we are at the red wave, or what didn't happen. And today a lot of people are blaming Trump because a lot of his candidates did not perform the way that they should have in the midterm election. But however, Ron DeSantis, he flipped Florida. He flipped Miami-Dade County, which was normally a Democratic solid blue county, but the numbers that came out of Florida for Ron DeSantis is absolutely just out there. I mean, he performed really well, and if it's any indication for 2024, he may be a strong candidate. But it's way too early to talk about 2024. But case in point now, we've got a runoff election that's going to happen in Georgia between Warnock and Walker, and they're basically today I'm hearing that it might not be such a good idea for Trump to actually go and rally for Walker between now and December 6th when the runoff election is. Kind of understand this, and I'm maybe thinking the same way. However, they're talking about since Ron DeSantis' neighboring state did such a great job that we're actually possibly thinking that Ron DeSantis would probably be a better person to go and to campaign for Walker in this runoff election. But do you see what I'm talking about here as far as the progression of the candidates that we're putting up? We are slowly moving less and less away from what that Christian conservative base for the Republicans has been traditionally throughout the history of the GOP. And when I talk about a conservative base, and this being about faith and the evangelicals, if you don't think that this isn't a spiritual battle between the GOP and the left Democrats, I got news for you. It is. It is a spiritual battle, and let me tell you why. In this election, New Hampshire just elected the first openly trans man to their state legislature. Massachusetts just elected their first lesbian, gay, whatever you want to call it, governor to Massachusetts. During the Biden administration now, within the past several years, we have a trans man who is in charge of the Secretary of Health. You can't make this stuff up. You can't, a trans man being Secretary of Health, where have we gone in this country? Now, everybody knows that the left is crazy if they're going to put Joe Biden up in 2024. Let me tell you about one of the strong names right now that is being touted as a possible candidate for the Democrats and the left in 2024. None other than Pete Buttigieg. Now, if Pete Buttigieg was elected president, then we would absolutely have, without a doubt, the first openly gay man to be president of the United States of America. Let that sink in. If we have an openly gay man as a president of the United States of America, how can we call ourselves a Christian nation? And for those of you that want to start out and say we're not a Christian nation, you need to look up your laws, you need to look up your Constitution, what this country was founded on. It was based on Judeo-Christian values. So when I tell you that these politics is more than just about politics, it's a spiritual battle in the way that our country's headed, and it even falls into end-time prophecy, I am telling you the truth. Look at the candidates. Look at the candidates that the Republicans has put up 2008, 2012, Mormon, to 2016, not a professing Christian at all. Now, since 2016, Trump has actually stated that he's a Christian. I think that he stated that he has accepted Christ. But look at some of the things that he says and does. Christ told us to judge a tree by its fruit that it bears. Trump is still divisive. Some of the things that he says still does not align to a Christian's values. And I've said this, and this is where I'm going to step on some toes. A lot of the right-wing people who call themselves evangelical Christians, the way that they put Trump on a pedestal, the way that they've idolized this man, it's almost idolatry. But if you want to read the Bible, it talks about in the end days that there will come those who will profess, be a wolf in sheep's clothing, say that they are Christ, but it also says, the Bible says, many will be deceived in that time. I'm not saying that Trump's the Antichrist. I'm not saying that he's a deceiver. I'm just saying that the actions that he's done, the things that he's done, don't sometimes line up with Christian values in the way that he has actually been touted. You know, it's scary to me. So I think that as Republicans and as a GOP, we need to push up those candidates more that have the values that we know are right and wrong. So the red wave didn't happen. And like I said, I believe a lot of it's because we don't have the right candidates being put up for us. And that's our fault. We should demand better in the candidates that we have to choose from. And it's getting serious. It's going to get serious. And if you don't think, well, I'll just put it out here like this. 2024 and Pete Buttigieg runs and he's the openly gay president of the United States of America, we're no longer a Christian nation. We just become Sodom and Gomorrah. And if you don't like the message, don't take it up with me. Take it up with God. but that's the way it is, plain and simple. This video has probably gone on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I thank you for sticking around for it. Again, I'm going to ask you to please share and subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more content coming out, and I think you'll enjoy it. But thank you very much, and till next video, keep your armor on.